If this is something that you kind of like, appreciate subscribing. If not, move along, and thanks for watching Life Practical. Hey everybody, it is the last day of Michigan's firearm season. It's technically muzzleloader season, but you can use any rifle you want. So some people like it, some people don't. But I'm not here to talk about that today. Just was kind of going to give you an update on my gun season, because today is the last day and I thought I'd do an interview from the blind. So I will show you the blind here, what I'm looking at real quick. This is kind of my lazy blind, I call it, where I just come out here kind of for fun and to get away from the house for a little bit. But like I said, last day I have standing corn out there, and it's another blind of mine, but I don't use it anymore. Standing corn over there, and I got standing corn over there. Got a nice little shooting lane there, there, and there. But that's what I'm looking at through my window. Don't really expect to see much right now. They do pop out at noon because they stay back here pretty much all day, but you never know. There is one big buck that I've gotten on camera a few times, and maybe he'll step out the last night. We'll see. Ned and I, we spent a lot of our season basically scouting during season. And some people might think that's a waste, but you know, you're just out there to have a good time anyways, and if you get a big buck or any kind of animal, you know, it's the icing on a cake. And it is nice to have that great meat too. That's why we originally got into the deer hunting. So but we did quite a bit of scouting, and we did a lot of walking around. The very first weekend we had taken that morning, and we drove around to spots that we thought that might be interesting to us, just to see where cars were parked and how many people were parked there. And it was quite the eye-opening for us, with a couple spots, and some couple spots that didn't have people. So, you know, basically we were scouting for people and where they were kind of going in and where you assumed that they were going in. Because if you can know where they kind of are, I've always said this, you know, in a general location, you know kind of where the big bucks aren't going to be, so to speak, you know, whether they catch your wind or whatever they're doing, you know. But in general, you want to stay away from people anyways. So and then the afternoon we hunted, we didn't see a deer, and that opening weekend was kind of gun season. We didn't see a deer at all that weekend. Oh, I take that back, we saw one from the truck when we were driving around. That's it. Up here in northern Michigan, northern lower. And the following weekend, I can't remember if we had snow or not. I don't think we had snow, and we walked around and poked around and found a couple spots that had nothing, hardly anything in it, and then one spot where we saw this guy's blind, and it was a really nice blind out in the public land. And I'll see if I can find some pictures here and show you guys. We found actually two blinds, well, more than two, but two really nice ones that were like, oh my god. One thing interesting was that none of the guys were actually at these blinds when we came by them and hunting, and they put a lot of work into getting them quite a ways out there. Now this one, I think the guy abandoned because it was set up strictly for bait hunting, and maybe he decided that it wasn't worth it anymore to carry that bait all the way out there, and the chance of getting caught, because it is illegal here where we are now, and I think he just abandoned it. And the dates kind of coincide with that, I think, a little bit, right here in 2017. And we did some tracking, and the tracking will tell you where the deer are and where the people aren't, you know, for the most part. And Anyway, we had a lot of fun. We ran into one buck, kind of still hunting, and this was on bare ground, no snow, and we're going into this area, and we're going in this direction. Let's say we're going in this direction, and we're kind of looking like this. Well, that deer came in right behind us and blew and ran all in one motion. And it was a nice buck. We would have shot him, but he was running, and I didn't want to shoot a buck of that caliber running, so, or even fire one at him, especially on bare ground. But so that was a lot of fun, and we saw a dead buck, just a skull in that area. So that area might pan out. Not too many people in that particular area. But what was surprising me is how far people would go in making a blind. And so, you know, there's people darn near everywhere in Michigan. We went to probably some of the most remote spots you can in northern Michigan, and there's people there, you know. I mean, granted, there's half-mile sections of where there's not people, but, you know, for the most part, there's somebody every mile, if not ever 2 or 3 people within that mile. Probably more like 2 to 3. But anyway, we had a great time and learned a lot where kind of the deer go and the people go, and we're kind of put that as like money in the bank for in the future. And we got a couple spots that we found where there's not many people, and where I think we'll go back in and build a little brush blind, and, you know, a spot where we can kind of walk to, sit for a little bit, and then maybe get back up and walk or whatnot. Really like to walk around for gun anymore, because I kind of get bored sitting in one spot all day. Change of scenery, and, you know, I believe, you know, Lanny Benoit really said, you're just out there to have a good time, and, you know, don't put pressure on yourself to shoot a big buck, you know. So that's what we're trying to go by, and I guess it's easy to do because we don't shoot very many big ones anyways. But it is fun when you do once in a while. So, oh, and don't forget to make memories happen. That's why we do it.